Kamala's night, and her opportunity... She's not here either. No Beyonce, no Kamala. Okay. Hey! Tickets are free, mother. It's Kamala's night, and it was Kamala Harris's opportunity to be introduced as a presidential candidate to America.
Growing up, we moved a lot. I will always remember that big Mayflower truck packed with all our belongings, ready to go to Illinois, to Wisconsin.
Just name swing states. Just say that you moved to swing states, that you moved to Michigan, to Georgia, you moved to Arizona. Just make it up. But this is great. We finally get to meet Communist Kamala, the radical that we have heard so much about.
I believe everyone has a right to safety, to dignity, and to justice. A harm against any one of us is a harm against all of us.
Okay, Stalin.
This is one of the reasons I became a prosecutor, to protect people.
Das Vidanya, comrade.
I stood up for women and children against predators who abuse them. I fought against the cartels who traffic in guns and drugs and human beings, who threaten the security of our border and the safety of our communities. And I will tell you, these fights were not easy.
Why are you doing the thing that they told us that you were going to do? With the hammer and the sickle and the bandoleros with the jello shots and why are you doing this?
On behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America.
How funny would it have been if at the end she was just like, but seriously though, not for me. This has all been great, but I've been thinking it over. By the way, if I was Donald Trump right now, I don't even know what I'd probably just be tweeting nonsensical shit to distract from the fact that she doesn't faintly resemble the caricature that's been painted. By the way, that is what he was doing. These are his real tweets. In all caps, where's Hunter? I swear to God, the guy running for president on the Republican ticket has morphed into a poor man's cat turd. Of course, an important part of tonight was familiarizing people with the Democratic nominee's biography, a hallowed walk through the trials and tribulations that formed the ethos and spirit of the Democratic nominee. Because up until tonight, they didn't have a lot. Thin on the anecdotes, quite frankly. I mean, I know they didn't have much time, but this is what they were running out there.
Vice President Harris came and visited my restaurant.
You know, I know you only had 4 weeks to put this movie together, but come on. You got to do better than, I was working and she walked in. I drove her in an Uber. Come on, the big movers and shakers of the Democratic Party must know her well.
She worked at McDonald's, and she greeted every person with that 1,000-watt smile and said, "How can I help you?"
I think you have to say that when you work at McDonald's, or really any point of service occupation. How can I help you is kind of the thing. I don't know that the transaction can really take place if you do not acknowledge that delicate dance of whether or not they will supersize. Are there less professional, more personal stories?
My phone rings. It's Kamala Harris.
She called me.
My phone rang again, and it was Vice President Kamala Harris.
If you're lucky enough to be her friend, she calls you on her birthday.
Wait. She calls you on her birthday? That is very on her birthday, she calls you. Hey, girl. It's Kamala. Anything you have to say to me that you should have said hours ago? By the way, this is like night 3 information. We're 3 days into the convention and we're like, so she has a phone. Which, by the way, is literally one of the only things we knew about her before she took office.
We did it. We did it, Joe.
The phone. She called people. But credit where credit is due. The Democrats, on short notice, exploited their newfound momentum and enthusiasm with a display of the breadth and width of this diverse, often contradictory party of Roosevelt. At their convention, they had union leaders and CEOs. They had Democratic Party icons and lifelong Republicans. They had a guy yelling, "Screw the billionaires," followed immediately by a very happy billionaire. It's all okay if it's our billionaire. Guys making fun of people for going to Yale, and a bunch of people who went to Yale. They had Barack Obama and Jewish Barack Obama. That's always good for politics. You know what really works? A Jewish guy that sounds like a black guy. The Democrats had people who prosecuted sexual predators and... There goes that booking. They had black Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, gay Americans, Jewish Americans, Palestinian Americans. Oh. Well, to be fair, it was only 4 nights, 8 hours a night. But really, it's best not to think about the consequences of our actions over there, especially given the theme of the week.
I can feel the excitement in this arena. It's filled with energy and with joy.
The air of joy.
Joy, joy, joy.
We will be joyful warriors.
The president of joy.
Let us choose joy.
Yes. Oh, it was joyful. For a convention. I know what real joy looks like because I've watched Oprah on her show. You thought people were happy to see her endorse Kamala Harris. You should see what they do when she gives them lip liner.
People want this. It's the Sony virus.
That's joy. Pretty good. The Democrats are about joy, and they are about excitement. Oh, and one other thing.
I was a paratrooper and an Army Ranger. I flew in the Navy during the first Gulf War.
I enlisted, fought alongside my brothers with Lima 325 in Iraq.
I gave the order directing our Special Operations Forces to fly 2 helicopters 150 miles into Abbottabad at night. And by the time the sun rose, Osama bin Laden was dead.
Proud to be in America. That's right, these are the new Democrats, man. They lead with joy and compassion and acceptance. And oh yeah, we will you Listen to me. Whatever you're feeling, go with it. Whether that feeling is joy or perhaps relief at having a chance when you had none is exhilarating. And the Democrats were hitting all the right notes. The cameraman? Not so much.
When a house is on fire, we don't ask about the homeowner's race or religion. No. We just try to do the best we can to save them. And if the place happens to belong to a childless cat lady,
I love that the camera just stayed on her. She literally turned around like, are these saying that is this? Hold on. Here's the crazy part. After this cutaway, the woman was interviewed. She is childless and has 2 cats. And you know what that means? A C-SPAN don't play. C-SPAN does the research. But ultimately, look, Democrats have already drank the Kool-Aid. It's very difficult when you're inside that convention environment to know if this has been a successful endeavor. Perhaps the best way to see how well it actually went is through the eyes of a more objective observer, a fair and balanced organization that will give you a more clear-eyed perspective How did Fox News experience this convention? At the beginning, I've got to be honest, I'm not sure they cared for it.
There's not much joy in this convention hall.
There were empty seats here when even as late as when Joe Biden was speaking.
The vibes are off. No one's talking to each other. This is probably the most boring scene I've ever seen in my entire life.
Ooh, so boring. I forgot what a daredevil like you is. Ooh, I forgot your life is a never-ending joyride of talking to Brit Hume in between catheter ads on Fox. Ooh. You're a murderer. What? But unfortunately for Jesse Knievel over here, the next night, even Fox had to acknowledge fire emoji.
People are having a great time down here. Stevie Wonder just performed, and there's more electricity in this room.
What? Good vibes. And you'll never guess what? They had a problem on this night as well.
No one's talking about the actual issues that matter.
All about fuzzy puppies and little kittens.
All the joy, all the vibe, all the emotion is nothing but empty calories. They burn fast and make you fat.
The good vibes aren't you can't eat good vibes, right?
Oh, so which is it? Do the vibes fatten you up, or are they emotional Ozempic? Which one? But I guess you're right. You can't feed your family on vibes. You can only feed your family on immigration fear-mongering. You can't eat good vibes. I think you might be confusing vibes with the tomato-infused soup-adjacent fondue, the weapon of mass lactation that this city calls. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, that's right, motherfucker. Come on. You want a piece? You want a piece? Hey, I want to order a pizza. Oh, yeah, you want a personal or backyard pool size? Look, let me tell you this. All right, I will say this. The bar pies are good. All right. I am winded. The point is this. By the third night of the convention, even at Fox News, the walls came tumbling down.
Tim Walz, I said earlier tonight he had to do fine, and that would be enough. He did great for him, for this crowd. And I even followed the football metaphors. He'll be a great wingman for Kamala Harris.
Yes. Fox News now knows the experience of being a Mets fan. Watching the Yankees always win the World Series. Yeah, that's Derek Jeter. Very talented. Most of Fox News was admitting defeat, except for young Jesse Waters, who bravely continued the pretense that the convention was going badly. Even when the footage right next to his fucking head disagreed.
Last night wasn't as jubilant as the media tells you. Seats were empty. It looked like there was a formal dress code. The lines to get in the stadium were long and silent. The only joy in the building was Joy Reid, who nobody even recognizes. You see these liberal media anchors walking around and no one even stops them for selfies. Actually feel bad for them. Last night felt like a funeral. And it was.
Last night felt like a funeral. And we all know funerals always have a DJ. Goodbye, dearest grandfather.
As of tonight, the DNC is officially underway. And to hear Democrats tell it, it's going to be a hell of a week.
All eyes are on Chicago. It is game day for the Democratic Party, the kickoff of the Democratic National Convention.
America's Blue Party awash in fresh optimism.
Everybody and their mom is trying to get the hottest ticket in the Windy City.
Frankly, it'll be like a rock concert. I think people are going to be cheering and pretty excited.
Yeah, let's go Democrats! You know, the dumber your hat, the more energy you always have. No one ever puts on a donkey hat and is like, you know what, let's stay in tonight. But of course Democrats are excited because this is a chance for them to lay out their specific vision each night. And let's hear what you got.
New this morning, we are learning how each night of the convention will highlight her vision for the country. Tomorrow's opening night's theme, For the People. Tuesday will outline Democrats' bold vision for America's future. Wednesday, they're calling a fight for our freedoms. And Thursday, a message for our future.
A bold policy move by the Democrats. Tuesday is for the future, and Thursday is also for the future. How do you have themes that are so vague and then still run of ideas by Thursday? This is like when the Fast and the Furious movies ran out of different ways to say that the movies would be fast and furious. Too fast, too furious. Faster and more furiouser. The fastestest and furiousest. We get it. The car goes vroom, all right? But it's not all going to be as vague as their daily themes. The Democrats also released a very detailed party platform. And you can tell how much time and energy they put into it because they forgot to replace Joe Biden's name with Kamala's. Yeah. And that's not just lazy, guys. It's risky. Joe Biden's going to read that and be like, gas up the Corvette. I'm going back in. But look, obviously there's going to be some policy talk during the DNC, but is there going to be anything that's more fun than that?
We'll have some celebs on hand at the Democratic National Convention. It kicks off today, and it's got a few notable celebrities that are actually set to host this week's event. So starting off, we have Scandal stars Kerry Washington along with Tony Goldwyn. They're among the hosts for the 4-day convention, as well as comic Mindy Kaling and The View co-host Anna Navarro.
Rumors are swirling. Big time. Everybody's talking about it. That two of the biggest names in music, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, might make appearances.
Holy shit, did you hear that? A completely unsubstantiated rumor about Taylor Swift and Beyonce. But in the meantime, give it up for Anna Navarro and Tony Goldwyn. Why are our news reporters talking out of their ass like that? This feels like hosting a birthday when you're 13 and being like, hey, my cousin says he knows Tony Hawk, so I don't know, he might show up. But even if you can't get into the convention itself, there's all sorts of things to see and do around town, like this thing.
The Planned Parenthood mobile clinic has also just arrived. They'll be offering free abortion medication, IUDs, and vasectomies.
A group called Americans for Contraception has a 20-foot inflatable IUD near the United Center. They've named it Frida.
Frida? Its name is Frida? That's a little confusing. The name Frida makes me think of my little old grandma, which actually is my preferred form of contraception. Actually, the truth is Frida is short for you are free to jizz inside me. Now, I knew Chicago would love that joke. Now, some men are out there and they see this and they're asking, is a regular IUD inflatable too? And the answer is yes, okay? The way an IUD works is you inflate it, you insert it into the uterus, and it waves its floppy arms like, get out of here, sperm! Get out of here, shoo! And while you're here, buy a Nissan. And mobile vasectomies, look, I'm not ragging on it or anything, but if I'm gonna get my balls operated on, I'm gonna need to be in a structure that won't 100% get towed. Now, for more on this, we go to Grace Kulenschmidt. Grace, the Democrats are really emphasizing reproductive rights this week.
Absolutely, Michael. This week is all about genitals. They've got the vasectomy vans, they've got the inflatable IUDs, and look, right behind me, they've installed a giant clitoris.
Actually, Grace, I think that's the bean.
Yeah. That's what I call it, too.
All right, Grace Kulenschmidt, everyone. Look. But while the DNC kicks off, the rest of the campaign is continuing, and Donald Trump is laser focused on the issues that are most important to American people.
They said, no, her biggest advantage is that she's a beautiful woman. I'm going, huh. I never thought of that. I'm better looking than she is. I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
Just so you know, man, just because you wear more makeup than Kamala doesn't mean you look better. Is this guy? Meanwhile, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz just finished a bus tour of Pennsylvania, and it seems like they had a good time. You know, you got Tim Walz handing Kamala Doritos, Doug Emhoff also handing Kamala Doritos, Kamala looking at that display case, wondering how long that hard-boiled egg has been there. Just have the Secret Service try it, Kamala. That's what they're there for. By the way, you just know Tim Walz is the happiest guy in the world to be spending this much time on a bus. He's probably on the bus. He's got his own map. You know, he's giving the driver advice. Oh, you could take the 34 to the 16, but honestly, the 7 to the 53, they got better rest stops. But Walz has also been carving out time for his own campaign rallies. Over the weekend, he had a rally in Nebraska, where he grew up. And while he was there, he threw down the gauntlet in a very Nebraska way.
Do you think J.D. Vance knows one damn thing about Nebraska? He's going to be here next week. You think he's ever had a runza? You think he's ever had a runza? That guy would call it a hot pocket. You know it. Every one of you in here know it.
Extremely regional slam. Walz got him good, I think. I mean, that was the most specific pandering I've ever heard. I had to look up what a runza is. It's basically meat stuffed inside bread, and apparently it's a regional favorite in Nebraska. Although I always say if regional meats are so good, they'd be national meats. And if that didn't happen, maybe they weren't ready for the big time.
Last night was all about President Joseph Retirement Biden. And everyone came forward to toast the man of the evening, including a surprise appearance from the woman who's been taking measurements in his office, Kamala Harris.
And I want to kick us off by celebrating our incredible President Joe Biden. We are forever grateful to you.
For President Biden's lifetime of achievement, we owe him a great debt of gratitude. Thank you to Joe Biden.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe, and God bless you. We love you.
That is so nice. I mean, even Nancy Pelosi was chanting, "We love Joe," and she's the one who pushed him out of the race. It's like the iceberg waving goodbye to the Titanic. Now, before President Biden came out to speak, we got to hear a powerful speech from Hillary Clinton. Yes. Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State, and the reason you have a trauma response every time you hear "This Is My Fight" song. She made a case for Kamala Harris while making the case against Donald Trump. Although there was one moment where she also sort of became him.
The first person to run for president with 34 felony convictions. As vice president, Kamala sat in the Situation Room.
Looks like the lock them up-y has become the lock them up-er. Look at that smile. That's the smile of a woman going, I get it now. Sometimes it feels good to be bad. I thought Hillary's whole speech was very moving. In fact, she killed it, although it will be ruled a suicide. On the other hand, over in the right-wing media world, they had a major complaint.
Hillary Clinton, she's the most joyless person I think was ever walked on this earth. That speech of just like her kind of like Stalinist, negative, half screaming to the crowd.
Come on. Criticizing Hillary for being joyless? Why don't you go post a Harambe meme on Vine, you 2015 piece of shit? But if conservatives hate Hillary not smiling, I'm sure they'll love Kamala, who was all smiles last night.
Kamala Harris came out on the stage. All the laughing, it's like she got into the sherry or something.
Come on, guys. Hillary doesn't smile enough. Kamala smiles too much. You know what? You don't get an opinion on this, okay? You get to control one hole on women's bodies, not two, and you picked one already. Can't win. This right here is exactly why I'm going to have that plastic surgery where they remove your mouth entirely. It's just easier. It's just easier. But let's move on, because remember, this is Joe Biden's night, and it's actually starting to get a little bit late, so let's get to Joe Biden.
Please welcome former Rhode Island Governor Gina Raimondo, Robert Garcia, Dick Durbin, Doris Johnson, Jesse Jackson, Tony Goldwyn, Steve Kerr, Sean Fain.
In the words of the great American poet, Nellie, it's getting hot in here.
Okay, yeah, I guess we had time for a dad bod striptease. But guys, it's really getting late now, so let's wrap up the other speakers and bring out Joe.
Please welcome Congressman Jim Clyburn.
Raphael Warnock, Kathy Hochul, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Jamie Raskin, Jasmine Crockett, Chris Coons.
And I want to talk with you for just a few minutes.
Jesus Christ. Is this still going on? No disrespect to Chris Coons, but Chris Coons. It is almost midnight. Mama's got to get to bed. And you know who else has to get to bed? Joe Biden. For the love of God, let's hear from Biden.
Please welcome Ashley Biden.
Not that Biden! It is 11 o'clock. You can't be introducing new Bidens right now. Do we have to go through the whole family? Is Commander Biden going to come out after this? It was so late by the time Biden actually got on the stage, even the right-wing pundits were insulted.
A sitting president pushed out of primetime.
It was incredibly disrespectful. I mean, no matter your politics or how you feel about the current commander-in-chief, he is the current president of the United States.
I almost felt badly for him.
It's the ultimate slap in the face.
Is this really how you treat someone that you love? I just think that's disgusting.
I'm sorry. I'm very confused here. Do you guys hate him or not? Joe Biden is a corrupt leader of a crime family who stole the presidency, and how dare they keep him up past his bedtime? The nerve! The nerve! But finally, Joe Biden took the stage at 11:26 Eastern Time, which is late, although I will remind the East Coast media elites at Fox News that there are other time zones. And I'm in one right now. Very nice. expect that by 11:26, Joe Biden would be coming to the stage in pajamas and one of those old-timey sleeping hats. But instead, he gave his most high-energy performance in a long time.
Putin thought he'd take Kyiv in 3 days. 3 years later, Ukraine is still free. China will inevitably surpass the United States. They haven't noticed. No one's saying that now. He never built a damn thing. Who in the hell does he think he is? Who does he think he is? Not worthy of being commander-in-chief. Period. Not then, not now, and not ever.
Excuse me, is it getting hot in here? Aside from bringing the energy, he also brought all the feels.
I've made a lot of mistakes in my career, but I gave my best to you. For 50 years, like many of you, I've given my heart and soul to our nation. And I've been blessed a million times in return with the support of the American people. But I hope you know how grateful I am to all of you. It's been the honor of my lifetime to serve as your president. I love the job, but I love my country more.
Was one of Joe Biden's finest moments. He was forceful, he was selfless, he was patriotic. Honestly, it almost made me wonder if maybe we should go back and... Oh, Jesus, Nancy! Damn it, I take it back.
The actual purpose of the convention is to officially nominate the party's presidential ticket, and they do that through a state roll call. Here's what that looked like at the Republican convention a few weeks ago.
Pursuant to the announcement of the delegation and the rules and procedures of this convention, Oklahoma, 43 votes, President Trump.
Okay. I get it. A lady who runs an orphanage counts the votes, and that's that. But last night, the Democrats changed things up a bit.
Georgia, how do you cast your vote?
Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, we are here tonight to officially nominate Kamala Harris for president. Bob, get out! Another round of shots! DNC, turn out for what?
Wow! Woo-hoo! I didn't know politics was so lit. I'm going to start voting. I just know that when Little John wrote this song, he was thinking to himself, this will absolutely rip at the 2024 Democrat National Convention. I'd love to hear someone explaining to the older white delegates who Little John is. He's a rapper, Mom. You know, that musical genre invented by Lin-Manuel Miranda. They actually had a DJ spinning songs from each state as they came up. He played Motown Philly for Pennsylvania, a Chapel Roan song for her home state of Missouri. Yeah. Iowa probably had Happy Birthday or some shit. Not a big music state. Personally, I can't wait to see my home state of Michigan show up. Ho, ho, ho! Yeah! Whew. Palms are sweaty, Mom. Spaghetti. You got the mic, Michigan. Make me proud.
Michigan, how do you cast your vote?
This November, we're marching together. Michigan cast three president 125 votes.
Yeah! Michigan! What are you doing? You embarrassed us in front of Illinois. Oh! Michigan! Come on! Michigan, how did you mess that up? You can't say a simple number, but you know how to say Ypsilanti? Come on! This is why you go to rehearsal, ladies. You literally only had one shot and you missed your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime, yo! You know what? Let's see if Illinois did any better.
The great state of Illinois, the prairie state, home of 4 presidents, including President Barack Obama. The birthplace of skyscrapers and the adopted home of Superman.
Started out strong. Seems like a pretty steep drop-off from presidents and skyscrapers to the adopted home of a made-up comic book character. I mean, you had nothing in between that? Like Michael Jordan? I don't know. Come on, JB. JB, come on. I mean, last time I checked, there's no Superman steakhouse in Chicago. After the roll call, it was time for the speeches, and the headliners were Barack and Michelle Obama.
America, hope is making a comeback.
America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
You know what? I almost forgot how charming and inspirational the Obamas are. Frankly, it's a shot of adrenaline to see these masters of the craft. You sort of want to sit in it. You know, I almost don't want to listen to anybody else. But you know what? The Democrats have been telling us they have a deep bench. So let's see these exciting up-and-comers tap into the energy and the charisma of the Obamas.
In my state, we like things spicy. A little chili on everything, a little kick in our campaigns. And let me tell you, we are feeling en fuego right now.
You know what? Maybe another quick hit of that Obama charm for a second.
We believe that true freedom gives each of us the right to make decisions about our own life, how we worship, what our family looks like, how many kids we have, who we marry. And we believe that freedom requires us to recognize that other people have the freedom to make choices that are different than ours. That's okay.
That's the good stuff, you know. Inject that hope and changey shit into my veins. Whoa. You know, but I can't just get high off these guys all night, you know. There's other products out there, like Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, you know. Yeah. Why don't I give him a chance to touch my heart with his moving story of the first time he called Kamala for a date?
I got Kamala's voicemail, and I just started rambling. Hey, it's Doug.
Yeah. That sure is a Doug. Has there ever been a more guy named Doug in history? If your name's Doug, this is who you are. But maybe we're asking too much of Doug. He's a political spouse. You don't expect a political spouse to be able to rile up a crowd.
I want to know who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs.
That's not a Doug. Not an ounce of Doug on it. Don't the Democrats have anyone else who can tap into that cool Obama swagger?
Please welcome Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer.
No. That's a Doug. That is a Doug. I'm sorry. When you see these two up on stage, it's very clear that for all the talk Democrats have about not looking back, they sure love to live in 2008. And frankly, who can blame them? Nobody else in their party can capture their vision of the future or speak to their values, and perhaps most importantly, nobody else can get under Trump's skin in just the right way.
There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
Yeah. I see what he did there. That's brutal. That's the second time this summer the Secret Service has failed to protect Trump from a lethal attack.